I'm Stacy Grinsfelder.
And I'm Daniel Kanter.
And you're listening to True Tales from Old Houses, the Minisode. Hey, Daniel.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Yes, we had such a good response on last week's episode with Brent Hull and Josie. So thanks to everyone for listening to that.
Yeah, I loved doing those interviews, so I'm glad the episode went over.
Yeah, it's funny. This season's been going really great, actually. The minisode was lots of fun, and we are off to the races here, as somebody says, not us, but as they say.
What race? Where's the?
Yes.
I don't like to run.
You don't like to run. Okay. Well, before we launch into today's minisode, I would like to say a very hearty and special thank you to our season 12 minisode sponsors, Sutherland Wells and Noonan Heritage Craftworks. Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much, you guys. And for the rest of you, if you have not left a 5-star rating or review, what are you doing? Get it together. You can do it really easily on your podcast app of choice.
We're just going to browbeat people into telling or writing nice things about us, aren't we?
Shame-based learning is what we're here for.
All right. I do have a couple things to say today. I think I said on the first mini that minisode is not for announcements, but you know what minisode is for announcements?
It's for whatever we want.
Yeah.
It's our business.
We're just going to bring you into our business. And I wanted to let everyone know that I've been told that people like to watch podcasts instead of just listening to them. This is kind of a foreign concept to me because I only listen to podcasts, but I've started putting the podcast episodes, the video version, on YouTube. This is new. I am just figuring it out.
I found out 5 minutes ago.
Yes, I just told you that you are on YouTube now. So yes.
That we are YouTube stars, you mean?
There you go. There you go. Main character energy here.
Exactly.
What I'm doing is I'm putting the minisode on YouTube in its entirety, from start to finish, because Daniel and I sit down and we record these all at once. But the regular episodes are pieced together through individual interviews. So what I've done is released it as, part 1 with our intro and our first guest, and then part 2, which is the second segment. And they also do not come out on the same day as the audio version. The audio version always drops on Monday. The video version, like I said, this is new, drops somewhere during that week. When it gets regular, I will tell you which day it is, but it's before the week is over. Before the Friday, you will see the video version on YouTube of the podcast. Like I said, people have told me they like to do this. Have you ever watched a podcast on YouTube, Daniel?
All the time. No.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't.
But I have, I've seen video clips of podcasts, and it is fun to see.
Yeah.
I don't know, the room
Right.
they're in. I'm always interested in the background. Shockingly.
Well, starting last year, we've released clips for every episode. We started that last year, but I didn't put the entire show up on YouTube. So yeah, this is really new. What it has proven to me is that I often wear the exact same clothing to record. That's what I'm noticing about myself. I'm like, I wear the blue and white striped sweater again. Maybe I should change it up. So if you watch this episode on YouTube, you will see that I am not wearing the blue and white striped sweater. I am wearing a blue sweater.
Yes. I mean, we do bathe and
yes,
launder in between recordings,
yes.
But, we're
There's
uniform people.
There's a lot of hygiene that happens behind the scenes before we get together. But yes, I wear the same clothes a lot for whatever reason. So the next announcement is just a reminder that we do have the drop ship store. It has preservation themed merch, and it includes a True Tales from Old Houses mug with the logo on it. Drop the link in the show notes for you if you want to check it out. That would be great. I also want to remind everyone that Brad and I will be doing the wood window workshop at Silver Lake again this summer in July, the second weekend and the third weekend, I believe, in July, and that early bird pricing and tickets will be available March 1st. That's coming up faster than we know. March,
February
right?
is a short one, remember?
It is. Yeah, we've got a lot to pack in February. And the last announcement from me is just another reminder again that the Window Preservation Alliance is having their annual conference in Astoria, Oregon, March 13th through 15th. And that conference is for anyone interested in historic preservation and window restoration, whether that is your job or whether you are a homeowner who wants to learn more. I'll be participating in 2 sessions. One is a panel on social media and mental health, and the second one is presenting the findings with Scott Seidler from our book, The Case for Historic Windows, The Truth About Energy Efficiency and Old Windows. So check out windowpreservationalliance.org for more information.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Other news, other pieces of news, information.
No, I guess just some
We've
follow-up.
done it all.
This
Okay.
is the mini-sode after all. So I'm going to follow up with you about brackets versus corbels versus modillions. Do you have, I know, this was the hot topic. We did a short little snippet that we released about the show. And then, of course, that whole conversation was in the full episode. Have you learned anything new? Do you have any corrections?
I mean, it's always funny to me, the things that people latch on to and then I hear a lot about for a while, and this is one of them. So by way of introduction, I've spent many months working on my front porch. I thought it had lots of corbels on it. It turns out it actually has no corbels on it. It has modillions on it, which then led to, well, what is a bracket and what is a dental? And so I've gotten all kinds of information. And I will say sometimes it conflicts a little bit, which I think speaks to kind of what Brent was saying of a lot of people these days who are talking in these terms are more or less self-taught or have done a lot of research on their own. So I'm not sure how reliable all of it is.
Right.
But somebody sent me this account on Instagram, and I thought it was a good recommendation if you're interested in this. The account is at Best Address, one word, and it's a guy, Joe Himley, who is he calls himself realtor with a passion for history, architecture, and design from all around the world. And he lives in Washington, D.C., which of course is rich in neoclassical buildings. So he has a lot of videos that are sort of about technical building details, but he has one specifically on modillions versus corbels versus dentals.
Right. Okay, and great. So, we'll check it out. I'll put that link in the show notes for everyone.
Yeah. I can happily report. I basically got it right last time, but he has a little more detail for you.
Okay. Yeah. So no corrections.
We're like basically on top of it.
Well, that feels good to know that we're right. But we like to be right, don't we?
It happens so rarely, so it's really it's a nice feeling. And if you guys could just let us have this one, that would be great.
Right. All right. Well, what else has been going on?
I don't think we ever circled back on the duplex basement.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to hear?
I completely forgot about that. I know that you almost got arrested over the duplex. No, that's the high drama version of what happened. But what's the
high drama?
What is the low drama version of what happened?
Well,
and then follow up.
So last season, the low drama version was basically I tried to pour a 4-inch slab in the basement and got shut down by the building department, and then I had to apply for a permit. And so I hired out the basement floor work. That work was completed pretty efficiently. So part of the reason of doing this project is just to get this part of the building like squared away feeling, but also to add laundry that doesn't feel totally scary and gross having to go down to a basement. So I sort of designed it such that like about a third of the basement will be like actually pretty finished space, and then the rest of it will be utility and storage. And I actually hired the tenant to frame the walls. So I found out last night he's completed his work, which is very exciting. And
you said that, and I wanted to be excited for you, but I was also a little nervous when you said that.
Because now it's my job again?
Well, no, because if it had gone badly with your tenant, then it would be bad in more than one way. And I know you are a good person, so we're not going to get into it about talking about your tenant. When you said that, I thought, oh, that is an opportunity for things to go awry. Yeah. So good on you. You're an excellent building owner, and I'm sure you're an excellent landlord. And I'm happy to know that it's so far so good.
Yeah, doing my best. I mean, he does work in this field.
That's great.
And he's been a tenant for over a year now. I feel good about it. And he did a great job. So that is where that stands. But before that happened, I had to repoint the foundation.
Right.
I didn't even tell you about that.
No.
It was horrible.
Do you have a fieldstone foundation? Do you have a brick foundation? What's down there?
It is almost entirely bluestone. It's been interesting. I always find like when I really work in a building and really spend time there, it's like you start to kind of get to know it and things sort of dawn on you that like, oh. And while I was doing this, it kind of dawned on me that it is possible that the duplex was built on an old foundation that predates the rest of the
Okay.
building because it's very, like, this building should be like the same age as my house, but the foundation is like super different. It's really irregular. The rocks are huge. Mine is much more kind of, I don't know, refined in its construction.
And
It's
your
fitted
your
together
house
well.
is approximately 1860-ish,
Mhm.
mid
Yeah.
1800s. So what are you thinking? Are you thinking the foundation is older than that or
I
newer than that?
do. I think the foundation, so the, I mean, that this area of Kingston started to be settled by colonists in the 1600s. So, like, I don't think it's that old, but I
Yeah.
think it's possible that another structure that burned down and then they built a new foundation on it, which is a tale as old as time in the course
Right.
of building in human history.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was sort of interesting, but yeah, it was, I realized once these walls were up, there were a couple areas that would be really hard to access the foundation, and so I might as well get those really squared away. And boy, it is hard and really messy.
It is very messy. It's a job I sort of enjoy. I'm not sensing that same thing for you, but did you like it?
In a way, like, I will say these were subpar conditions because January,
True.
upstate New York, basement, no real heat in a basement like this, and mess.
Yeah, it
And
is super
gross.
messy.
Is
Yeah.
gross.
Right.
Because this is also the basement where, like, there once upon a time was a laundry setup. However, like, the dryer never vented anywhere other than just in the room.
Just
But,
blow
like,
all that fluff all over the walls.
So
yeah.
actually, the wall in particular that I was working on when I bought the building was, you couldn't see the stone at all because it was just like an inch of dryer lint just
That's so
over the
gross.
entire thing. So it was super gross. It was satisfying. It's sort of in the way that, like, tiling, I
Mhm.
think, is satisfying, where it's really miserable while you're doing it, but as soon as you're done, you're sort of like, oh, I can't wait to go back to that and, like, keep
Yeah.
doing it, even though
It's like type
awful.
2 fun, where you're in the
Yeah.
middle of it and you're like, this isn't great. But
Yeah.
then at the end, you can sort of reflect back and think, oh, that was pretty good. I had a good time
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you
I-
just sort of hope it goes well because conditions
won't
are
see it again.
subpar. Well, right. And, like, you know, I'm using lime mortar, trying to do this all correctly, but if it dries out too quickly, it cracks. If it's cold, it cracks. You know, so I hope it was fine. I did my best.
I
It's
get
better
a lot
than
of.
it was.
I like doing it because it feels like one of those jobs where it doesn't have to be perfect, especially when you're doing a foundation on the inside that nobody's going to see. So for perfectionists like me, or I guess I wouldn't call myself a perfectionist, but I have those tendencies.
I would.
It's just okay, you would. With perfectionist tendencies, it's just nice to have a job that's sort of low key where I'm like, all right, I do have to be a perfectionist with lime mortar. Like you said, there's a perfectionism with mixing it up correctly and following up as it's drying, but the actual putting it between the stones and adding chinking and all that stuff, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put some here. I'm going to throw some rocks in here, put some mortar in here. It just feels nice. And then it looks so good at the end.
Yeah, certainly more like solid. The other way that I think about possibly aging the building and the foundation is just simply because it's just not as nice of a building as my house. Like, it just never was. So there also just could be that, because in my house, like, the joists are pretty irregularly spaced and the subfloors are nice and tight and all of that. In this house, like, there'll be a joist and then the next one is 12 inches away, and then the next one is 3.5 feet away. Like, it just is all over the map. So
Haphazard.
Yeah, so, like, doing anything like this is always a little bit more than you bargain for, because conditions just degraded a lot over a long time of it just not being cared for. So anyway, so I'm excited to kind of get back in there. I have to get things kind of roughed in and hooked up, and then he's going to put sheetrock in.
That's
And
so
then
exciting.
I think I'll tackle things very slowly over time. Like, once it's up and running, I'm not that concerned about, like, making it perfect right now, because I have other things to do.
I hate to even ask you this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Please do.
Because it's a basement.
Yes.
Do you worry about drainage? Do you have a sump pump? I hear drywall in basements and I get a little...
I get that way too. I will say I think it's very case specific. In this case, all foundation walls will still be exposed. Some of them will be rather close to a framed wall, but still at least like 1.5 feet away.
Okay.
So you'll always be able to access both sides of these walls, which I think will be good.
Very smart.
This basement is dry as a bone. So I think that's a big deal. Like where the house is located, also where my house is located, we're sort of up on a bluff. That's why the Dutch settled this area in the 1600s. So luckily, we have generally very dry basements unless my cistern overflows, as we know. And so I think it's going to be fine. It doesn't get moist down there. The building has forced air, so that pulls a lot of moisture, I think. So I'm really not worried about that part at all. Hopefully, it's not a foolish thing.
Well, if you're not worried, I'm not worried.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's kind of the renovation I'm doing right now, which was happening very much in concert with the porch stuff. I was just a little more physically involved in the porch stuff while stuff was happening down the street. Now it's kind of tossed back on me for a little while. And soon and very soon, there will be a washer and dryer that function at the duplex.
That's great. You get so much work done. I know it probably doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that for me, but sometimes when I kind of reflect back on all the things that have happened in the last year, I think, oh, I guess I did do a lot. But yeah, I always feel like you are just making the most of the hours in your day, whereas I can only go so long before I got to take a reclining break to watch TV or something.
I think that's very much how it appears from the outside, because boy, do I watch TV. I'm a pro at it. Do we have to take a break?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, this would be a great time to take a break, and then I'll kind of fill you in on a little bit of what's been going on around here.
All right. On the other side, we'll hear about Stacy.
True Tales from Old Houses is supported by Sutherland Wells. All of Sutherland Wells products are handcrafted in Providence, Rhode Island, with the highest quality, sustainably grown tung oil. Tung oil, which is native to China, has been used for centuries as a durable finish for wood, metal, and stone.
Now listen carefully. Unlike polyurethane, tung oil finish actually penetrates the surface of the wood, which means that it flexes and contracts as conditions change, which makes it the perfect pre-finish or protectant for everything from fine furniture to window sash and sills.
Now, I've used Botanical, Millie's, Slicky Wicky, Murdoch's. Most recently, you used which product, Daniel?
Well, Stacy, I used the exterior polymerized tung oil in medium luster for the flooring of my new front porch, and it is gorgeous.
And I've used that one too, up in my upstairs bathroom. But whatever you're working on right now, Sutherland Wells has an entire product line. So if you need something for siding, hardwood floors, furniture restoration, cutting boards, they've got you covered.
To learn more about the complete product line, visit Sutherland Wells, that's WELLES, sutherlandwells.com. And to save 10% on your first order, use the coupon code TRUETALES.
True Tales from Old Houses is also supported by Noonan Heritage Craftworks. You may know Joseph Parenti from Instagram for his work with historic exteriors in the Pittsburgh area. He's now extending his offerings to homeowners across the United States with Noonan Heritage Craftworks.
We all know that finding the right help to restore and maintain your old house can be a huge challenge. Where do you start? What materials and methods should you use? Who can you trust? Joseph is here to help you.
You can schedule a phone call, a video conference, or email consultation with Joseph to talk through your exterior project and to help you game plan. So whether you need to prepare a scope of work, or you need a second set of eyes to help compare estimates, or just figuring out the right questions to ask vendors, Joseph can provide unbiased guidance to help you steer clear of pitfalls and ensure success.
To learn more about how Noonan Heritage Craftworks can work with you, visit our special landing page at Noonan Craftworks. That's NOONAN craftworks.com/truetales.
We're back.
We're back.
So grateful to Sutherland Wells and Noonan Heritage Craftworks.
Yes, we love them. So I have questions.
Okay, go for it.
Are we like done with the stairs?
Well, no. But yes, I've come a little bit further. So when we last talked, I'd had this party and I'd put the balusters in and the stair returns in. I ended up having to back some of those stair returns off, the stair tread returns, I should say, because I reuse the nails. And when I did, a few of them got a little crooked. So I had to pull them back out and redo that. That was no big deal. It was just one of those things. I saw it, speaking of someone who's not a perfectionist. Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. But no, I saw it. My guests didn't see it. They didn't notice. So it was only 3 or 4 that were affected. So I fixed those. And then there's another little trim piece that goes under those stair tread returns. And those are back in place. That's another thing that probably a person just looking at the staircase wouldn't even know that it was there. It was there. I took it off. It was original to the staircase. So therefore I put it back.
This is like a little cove.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's a little cove
Which
piece.
does have a functional purpose, but like when
Well,
those pieces are missing, the front of the tread is much more likely to snap in two.
Okay, well, the front tread piece it was there. That one's
right.
Yeah, that one stayed. But
off.
The side one that wraps around, that was the one that was missing. So
now,
that does make sense.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you took them off, did you like code them to make sure they went back on the exact same tread they came off of, or did they get kind of jumbled? I got this question with my modillions that I did not attempt to keep track. Oh, okay.
Really?
See?
Interesting.
Good for you.
Yeah. I numbered everything. I numbered each baluster. I numbered each stair tread return. I numbered each trim piece. But a funny thing happened with those balusters. Some of them the numbers got sanded off.
Right.
And then I had them on both ends. So when I took them off, I actually wrote the number down on both ends because I was thinking about that. Plus, the broken pieces, I needed to know that both of them went to baluster number 7, that step. I needed to know they went together. Otherwise, that would have been a terrible puzzle to figure out.
Yeah.
But some of the numbers did get rubbed off. So I got a little concerned. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to figure this out? But the truth is they're pretty much the distance from the stair tread to the banister or the handrail was pretty much the same regardless of the step. So what I ended up doing was matching the dovetail cutouts because those were hand cut. So I was able to figure out, there were about 6 of them that I wasn't really sure about. And I had 3 different styles. So those 6 spanned different stairs. They weren't all from one stair. It was not that hard, I guess. The TLDR here is that it wasn't that difficult to figure it out. But yes, I did number everything. They all look the same, but it's not always true.
I know. Well, yeah. I'm so curious what would have happened if I tried to do this with the modillions on my front porch because do you like how naturally I just said it?
I know.
It just rolled off.
No correction stuff. Yes, go for it.
I'm learning. But when I started to undertake reinstalling them is when I realized that just how irregular they were. And so there's, kind of a span of maybe like a 1/4 inch of length and width and somebody asked, like if you had labeled them when you took them down, would they have been consistent for like, that entire run or something? And I wish I knew, but I didn't. So I don't know.
Huh. Yeah, that's a good question.
So I think the answer is no, but we'll never know, will we?
No, we won't. It'll just go down in history as one of the little mysteries of your house.
Exactly.
Yeah. Going back to the staircase, you asked me if I'd finished. The inner stringer, no, it'll get done when it gets done. I've actually repaired the paint. I have some places that I need to sand, and you can still see my big white dots of like filler right there. But yeah, it is a priority project because I want that staircase completely done. Between when we've talked about this last time and now, I haven't even touched it.
But we're still extremely close, and we can safely walk up and down the stairs, which that's so the great. Big thing, right?
Yeah. My dog Millie, she took a tumble, and fortunately she was about, 3/4 of the way down the stairs, but she actually ended up falling through that open baluster area and landing on the ground. I know, and I felt so bad. She was fine. She's made of rubber. Yeah,
jumped right up. No idea anything happened. Yeah.
I'm fine. That was embarrassing, but I'm fine.
It's so scary, though. One time, my little guy Linus fell down the stairs once, and it was like, he's dead. He must be dead. And then he was just perfectly fine. Just popped up.
It's so loud because they've got all those, their legs are just flailing everywhere. It's just bad. Yeah, all around, it's not a great thing. But now it is safe. The staircase is safe. Everything's good.
So
we're moving on from there. Yeah, windows are next.
Well, I'm really happy for you about your stairs. I have all the confidence in the world you'll get those final things finished.
Thank you.
Can we spill about our big exciting news?
We can. We have a few more minutes, and we probably should, because last episode I said something on the outro, and although I'd mentioned it to you before, and we've been talking about it behind the scenes, the finality of it, I think, took you by surprise maybe a little bit.
It really did. It really did, but in a great way.
Last season, you and I had a conversation with Pat Evans, and she works at Taliesin West in Scottsdale, Arizona. And during that episode, or maybe after, I'm not sure if it was during or after, we said, oh, we want to come visit. And she was definitely on board. I mean, I think it was her idea. She's like, you should come visit. You should see Taliesin West. You can record some episodes of the podcast. And you and I we were pretty into it. Like it sounded great.
But I'll say in fairness, like, we frequently float the idea of coming to visit places that, we talk about. And it's genuine. We want to.
Yeah, we absolutely want to.
It doesn't happen usually.
Right.
And this time,
it is happening. You and I, for better or for worse, are going on vacation together. I say vacation, a working vacation. We're going to Scottsdale, Arizona in March.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I don't even think I've ever been to Arizona.
Really?
Like, period. I don't think so.
Well,
have you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been to Arizona. So I lived in the Southwest for years and years. So I've definitely been to. In fact, I lived at Lake Powell, which is very northern Arizona, for 18 months. Right after my first son was born, we lived there.
Wow.
Yeah. Arizona's great. You and I, the lure of leaving New York in March during some of the coldest times. Scottsdale sounds pretty darn nice right now, but we are excited to meet Pat in person. We're going to record 2 episodes there. I'm sure that we'll do some sort of videos and
are
Instagram
we to
stories.
Say, like, we're staying in the Apprentice apartments, like where they lived.
Right.
It's so cool. I can't believe it. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I can't wait either. What we need to talk about, actually, I don't want to surprise you about this, but maybe
we'll sharing a bed?
Yeah, no, we get to have 2 separate rooms because I'm told you snore and I want no part of that.
No, I wanted to, I saw some email and I wanted to text you and be like, just be aware you don't want to sleep in the same room as me. Like,
no,
I
do not.
Gross. I snore.
You snore. And I need my beauty sleep. So that is definitely not happening.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's room for us to have some sort of casual get together somewhere in Scottsdale. Nothing crazy. Anybody who's in the area is welcome to join us for dinner or something like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. We could just do sort of casual thing. But otherwise, looking forward to learning more about the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation, touring Taliesin West, hanging out with you. You might get sick of me.
You and Pat, all of our friends. Oh, it's gonna be great. It really will. Doing it, and I'll just. Even you're gonna hate me, but do you know I'll have only been home from Mexico for like 2 weeks when we go do this.
Well, you're going to Mexico.
Escape from
the
cold. And
yeah,
bitter.
I am jealous. While you're in Mexico, I'm going back to Utah, and that's kind of just like leaving the cold for a second kind of cold, like the kind of dry cold that you have to put Vaseline in your nose. But it's 2 different types of cold. That's TMI, isn't it?
Have I ever asked you that? Do you ski?
I do. Yeah, I do.
You like it?
I love skiing. I downhill ski, and I also cross country ski and snowshoe. So
we have talked about this, but do you make the time to do it when you go out there?
Yes, if possible, I do. I have to say, I don't want to leave anybody with the impression that I'm like a black diamond skier heading towards the Olympics. I am not. I'm a very cautious, careful, green skier. The easiest routes, maybe if I'm having a good day, feeling brave, then I'll go to a designated blue route. But I do like it. I like it very much. I like just sort of slowly making my way down the mountain.
It's a lovely thing. I haven't been skiing in like 20 years, and my toxic trait is thinking that I'll just pick it up like riding a bike or anything else. And because I used to really be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. So I learned as an adult. I think I was, 19, 20, 21, something like that. So I didn't learn as a kid. And so I came into it with a little bit more fear probably than a kid does for skiing. Mm-hmm. And I had kind of taken my skill level as far as I could take it. So, I really only skied maybe 4 or 5 times while my kids were little, and then, once a year after. And so that's not quite enough time to get incredibly comfortable per season. So every time I start out, I go right to the little bunny hill or the little magic carpet and ride up, and then go down a couple times just to get my bearings again. But
Do you
you'd be
have those
surprised.
things, like a cord that they strap between the ends of your skis when you're learning to
No.
yeah. I'm just picturing you with one of those. And it's very
No.
cute.
No. Okay, I'm a step above that, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, but
How did we get here? How did we
I
get to
don't know.
skiing?
I think
All
I
right.
just really wanted to know if you were a skier.
Okay. Well, the most important part of this whole conversation is that you're going to Mexico and I'm going to Utah.
Mexico. We're going to Arizona. It's going to
Yes.
be a crazy early spring.
So much fun. All right. Well, I think we're out of time today.
All right. Well, we'll keep you all informed.
Next week's episode, we have Printmakers Inn. That's going to be a real interesting
So
one.
good. Oh, that house.
Yeah, Pete from Printmakers Inn. And we also have Robert, who's going to talk about historic preservation after natural disasters. It's going to be a great show.
Yep. Don't miss it.
Thank you for listening to True Tales from Old Houses. And thank you to our sponsors, Sutherland Wells and Noonan Heritage Craftworks. Until next time.
See you Monday.